IGM is an incubator, but more importantly, it's in my mind, it's a bastion for justice.
It's not a typical place that people think about coming to see art.
For 15 years, it's always happened. Something's always come, often out of where I don't know. I look for existing resources, just like these wonderful walls.
People do want to come together. People are tired of being separated from all the different aspects of what we do in the world.
We help the artists, we help documentary filmmakers, we help the documentary photographers, and we also want to help the scientists. They accomplish such exciting work and nobody knows about it.
These are the types of institutions that care. The academic environment has a unique opportunity, just like art does, to invite discussion from many walks of life. Students from everywhere, all over the globe, come to USC.
What a better place than to be where there is research going on and education, and to bring art in so that it's more interactive.
I've always been in tune to that other sense, that feeling that people like to capture as artists.
Who are we? What are we becoming? Where are we from? Why are we here? And it seemed that the only way that I could express that or get answers from that was through art.
Whether you're a poet, or a photographer, a filmmaker, a painter, a ballerina, does not matter, a scientist. That poetry of moment is everything for an artist when you're in that pure creation moment.
So many people in photography just do photography, and I really see myself as an artist who uses photography as a tool. And I happen to have these poetic prayers that I had written, and I really wanted to express them in some way through merging them with my photography. Someone asked me who had bought a piece if I had a catalog. And I said, oh yeah, I'll get you a brochure, I'll get you a catalog. And then that turned into a book.
It felt to me that there were not enough positive messages out in the world. And it was unacceptable to me as a parent, as a human being. So I decided to try and do what I could, given the resources that I had, to bring something to the public eye that enabled that message to be reversed in real time. So I combined the artworks and I combined the positive statements into what ultimately became the book.
Now's the time. People are ready for this. So it's been incubating, and now the baby is ready to birth. So this is just the beginning for this gallery.
The value, in my opinion, of what artists in this specific gallery achieve is the messaging standpoint of their art. And most artists really only care about that. Why wouldn't you show here?
And many things can come from this, beyond what we even know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the IGM Art Gallery. Without any more ado, we're just going to show you what an art frame forum means. Here's the art frame. The artist is Mike Becker. Take it from here, Mike.
Okay, so here we go. So welcome. Those of you I know, friendly faces. Those of you that I don't know, also friendly faces. Again, thanks for taking time out on Valentine's Day, or Hearts Day, Love Day as we call it, to visit us here at Spiritual Matrices and Free Will Positive Movement. As Lynn has stated, one of the importance for me as an artist in finding galleries such as this, who really frame out art as a central theme and combine it with science, is the ability for the two to work together, to find the types of things that we need as human beings to help facilitate changes in. As artists, we have unique, I would say, insight into the human condition by the nature of our observation of other people, the environment, and as such we have an ability to kind of sort of think outside of the box, similar to how I think scientists would also look at the world. And maybe between the two, we can bridge a discussion that helps move the leaders, all right, from the 6 sectors of our society, from public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, academic, and media, to engage, collaborate, and move our species towards a greater good. That's really what it's about at the heart for me. So I'm always looking as an artist to partner with individuals who are on that path. As testament to all of you here today on a special day, you obviously are as well, whether your badge says volunteer, whether it says partner, whether it just says your name. So I applaud you and I thank you for joining on this mission and moving forward. That's Mike Sijo. Does I pronounce that right? Right. He's another artist who has shown his works here, and he's currently showing it South Pasadena.
Showing it South Pasadena's Chamber of Commerce, their arts council there. Yeah.
So absolutely, if you get a chance, talk to Mike. He does some great work bridging not only issues here in the States, but also Japan together. So fantastic work being done there. That's what's amazing about this particular gallery, is that by bringing together the academics, and the media, the faith-based and the nonprofits, and the for-profits, we're able to take these messages and move them globally because we're all speaking that same language. So look for that a little bit further as you engage with your respective peers here in the gallery today, as you go into Susan's light book performances, and Mr. Toussaint, who's there on the camera, who's got a great clip from the film that we'll be seeing as well. I'd like to thank United Voices of Literacy and Leah, who's here in the red, some of the student volunteers, William, I know off the top of my head, Mr. Robert Dorn in Public Policy back there, he'll raise his hand. Sorry, I'm going to make everybody a little bit uncomfortable. Of course, Lynn, thank you for everything you do for this organization, for the mission of humanity. It's been a breath of fresh air and a lot of wind to sails that I've desperately needed. Yo Camiro with Spotball is right here in the audience as well. George Zabo, did I pronounce that correctly? On the camera. Everybody that you're seeing here does this for volunteer purposes. Okay, we're here because we care. And that's really what we want to continue to put out, as far as I'm concerned, a message of care for humanity. Susan Hillebrand, my fellow artist and stablemate from the beginning, does some amazing work, and she's going to jump into that, I think, message a little bit further here in just a few more minutes. Oh, the biggest thing, what have I done? I've written a book. I'm not always the best salesman with my art, but I've written this little book. It's called Free Will Positive Moment, and it's a little self-help guide that includes 52 mottos, which sound very similar if you've been listening to the world about you, from things you've heard probably your whole lives. But they're matched with little artworks designed to really trigger an impulse within yourself, a repetitive impulse within yourself to choose a positive choice versus when presented with an alternative, a negative choice, to go in that direction. So I'm trying with these words, this motto, to get that out to all of humanity. And such that since we've joined forces with the gallery here and working in collaboration with other departments within USC, we've successfully, large part thanks to Mike Sijo over here, been able to translate into Japanese. Fully functional book, ready to go. And how do we get that message out to the world? That it's a singular message that speaks the same to all. On week 13 of this book, Make Exceptional the Minimum for Self-Expectation is the English published version. Now, in the UK published version, that flag illustration will change to the flag of Great Britain. In the Japanese illustration, that flag changes to the flag of Japan. Okay? In the Polish version, Wolna Wolna, Moment Positive, that flag changes to the Polish flag, and so on and so forth. In such, we are speaking to a singular message of positive choice, of free will, of positive moments globally, culturally specific, taking into account the historical reference and text and experiences, regardless of the government, regardless of the religion, regardless of the ideology, an opportunity for an individual to sow themselves into positive choice.
This is not a message that is being pontificated by me to them. This is an invitation that says, join this goodness. And I think that explains the book in its nutshell. Any questions out there?
Well, how do you think these books are going to be used, for example, in Japan? If Mike is working in Nagoya, which is the LA sister city,
Yeah.
how would the book be used in Nagoya?
Yeah. The book can serve on lots of different levels. Ideally, what we would like to be able to do is get the book into the academic curriculum, K through 12, throughout the United States. I'd also like to get the book into young children's hands. And dare I say this? No, I won't say it. I would like to get that message as young as possible. We see lots of examples of big companies out there, we can all name them, that are effectively getting a message, regardless of that message, into the minds of young people very early on. I want this sewn in very early on. Mike?
Is there an ebook or some type of digital media?
There's a great question. There is an ebook that is available online for purchase right now at any of your Kindle readers or Amazon or Barnes & Noble. East Central, it's selling in Malaysia. It's available in the English version. As these translated texts come online, we'll look at the availability of the readers out into the world and determine which ones make sense to go ebook.
And
From
then
that
is there an opportunity, like, for example, the Valerie's mobile museum that shows amazing culture, just more masks and tools and everything that you could imagine.
Yeah.
When she goes into an American school, or schools right here in LA County, would it be possible for your book to also be seen as a cultural tool for communication?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it makes tremendous sense to partner and collaborate with anybody that is dealing with culture. So if your message out there is about promoting humanity in a culturally specific or positive way, then I would love to hear from you, and I would love to partner with you and help everybody do what they need to do. So we should talk, Valerie.
How about
Any other
churches?
questions?
Could churches use this?
Sure. Again, you may note, for those of you that are here, I did say earlier that this is serving humanity. And this serves regardless of your religious affiliation, your political ideology. This is serving a message of positive choice, and I would welcome the opportunity to collaborate with faith-based just as much with profit and nonprofit and academic and media. If you are speaking about a positive message, then please reach out to me, contact me. If you see a language that you don't have represented on the website and you would like to, and you have some resources, please do send them my way. I would love to work with them. Again, just would like to thank everybody for coming out and sharing this really momentous occasion for me. This is a lifelong pursuit done by calling, for lack of a better word. It's not my day job. This is what I do as a volunteer, which is why we're volunteer here today, because I'm a servant. With that being said, prepare yourself, because Susan's going to provide you an onslaught of emotional feedback to delve into, and we're going to head into this room here.
Right. Thank you so much, Mike. And now we can sit down. And Lael is serving today as our timekeeper. And I was going to introduce her at another time, but I'll introduce her now. And she is the founder and director of the Yes Salon, and has an amazing 180-seat theater space where many of your projects could be promoted, and we can meet many more great people in her space. Lael?
So, Yes Salon gives venue and voice to yeses that matter. Our motto is changing the world one yes at a time. Our stellar annual event is Poems for Peace, opening hearts through the arts. So poetry is a way of living. It promotes creativity, thinking in metaphor, and creative solutions. Last year we had our first Poems for Peace and received a certificate of appreciation from the city, and this year we're moving in the direction of a proclamation from the mayor to make it a citywide event. I'm hoping that everyone in this room will consider how they might participate with that event. So come talk to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Chris Toussaint, who is
a spiritual person, an artist, a filmmaker, an editor who looks, how can I say this, like the narrator in the play Our Town. He goes up onto the mountain and looks down on our town and sees how our town is a part of the greater universe. And I don't want to say much more than that because his film will say it all. He is a talented and wonderful artist who fits totally into our mission here of developing social capital using existing resources.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into depth, but when Lynn approached me about her organization, she mentioned that, you know, there's a artist element and there's a science element, and that's really been my direction all of my life in terms of my films. I do a lot of things that are on the cutting edge of science. Some people might say it's way out on the fringe, but then again, the fringe has been moving closer to the mainstream for like 50 years now. So it's not so fringe anymore. What you're going to see here on the short clip is part of a 60-minute film called The Science of Miracles with Greg Braden. Anybody here know of Greg Braden's work? Not a lot, a few. Okay, good. Greg is a scientist and a visionary, and we have some remarkable things that are going on in the world that unfortunately don't make the 6 o'clock news a lot of times, but are quite mind-boggling and paradigm-shattering. So we'll dim the lights now, and I'll show you this clip, and then I'll just mention a few things afterwards, but we have to keep things rolling.
Almost universally, ancient texts and spiritual traditions suggest that everything in our world is connected in ways perhaps that we're only beginning to understand. This field of energy, this subtle field of energy, is in fact described by Western scientists as a net or a web that creates what they call the underlying fabric of all creation. This field of energy has been here from the very beginning. It is an intelligent field, an intelligence that responds deeply to human emotion. We must feel the feeling as if the prayer has already been answered. And in that feeling, we are speaking to the forces of creation, allowing the world to respond to us, allowing this field, the quantum hologram, the mind of God, to respond to us with what it is that we are feeling within our hearts. So any discussion regarding this feeling-based prayer, this lost mode of prayer, sometimes seems a little more than academic until we can actually apply it in our lives or see it applied in our lives. It's in the late 1990s that I had the opportunity to do precisely that, when I saw the footage documenting the healing of a life-threatening condition within the body of a living woman using precisely the kinds of techniques that we're speaking about right now. I had the opportunity during that time to see some video footage of the healing of a 3-inch diameter bladder cancer inside the body of a woman who, by Western medical standards, had been diagnosed inoperable. She had gone, as a last resort, to a medicineless hospital in Beijing, China. And it was in this medicineless hospital where they began simply by addressing the life-affirming ways that she could change how she was living her life. They taught her life-affirming ways to breathe and life-affirming ways to nourish her body, gentle movements to stimulate the energy centers in her body. And as she was doing these and strengthening her body, at one point it made sense to undergo a process. Now I'd like to share this. I'd like to describe it to you as a very potent example of how the feeling world inside of our bodies has a direct effect, in this case a very graphic effect, on the world beyond our bodies. So in the video documentation, The film shows a woman lying on in a hospital room. She's fully awake, she's fully conscious, she believes in the process that's about to happen. Before her, there is an ultrasound technician who is running an ultrasound wand over her lower abdomen that we can see on a split-screen television. And on the left-hand side of the screen, they do a snapshot, a freeze frame of an instant in time for reference, so we can see what her condition looked like in that instant in time. On the right-hand side of the screen, we are able to watch real time as 3 practitioners stand behind her, working with the energy in her body and with the feelings in their bodies. And what they do is they begin to chant a word that to them, they've agreed upon, that reinforces the feeling within them that she's already healed. The chant essentially says, already healed, already done. And as they begin to have this feeling and to say these words among themselves, on the computer screen, on the television screen, we can watch in real time this cancerous tumor as it disappears in less than 3 minutes real time. It's not like time lapse on a documentary where you see a rose unfold in 30 seconds in something that normally takes days. This literally happens in less than 3 minutes. Her body responded to the feelings of the practitioners who were trained to have the kinds of feelings that they were having. And all they were feeling was the feeling of what it feels like to be in the presence of a woman who is already healed, fully enabled, fully capacitated. They were not seeing her as a woman who was sick, and they weren't saying, bad cancer, you've got to go away.
Right. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that video before. One person maybe. It's like spoon bending, right? In a way, it seems miraculous. That's why we call this the science of miracles. But on the other hand, there's real concrete proof. And as more and more people, I think, in the world start videotaping phenomenon, we're going to start seeing this hard, rigid, rational, empirical science paradigm shift over to one that does allow things that contradict what we've understood, in our scientific paradigm now for hundreds of years. So I'll be glad to talk later with anybody about this film. We're looking to show it within, the coming few months here, either here or at another location. It's a 60-minute documentary, and it gets into a lot of interesting quantum experiments that are done with prayer, with intention, and things that you read about. But when you see it emotionally brought across in video, I don't know, I think it really hits home for people. So that's part of what I want to do in my life, is to keep that pushing the envelope and getting people to fund and also distribute these kinds of programs. Thanks very much.
And I'd like to introduce Dr. Armati Austin, who's in the audience here today. She is a teacher, a mentor of our medical school students, and she works in collaboration, she works at California Hospital, correct? California Hospital, and teaches our USC medical students there. And she also is organizing on April 16 another all-day conference that's going to look at alternative and complementary medicine and more of the spiritual issues that we're looking at today. So you're going to be hearing a lot more in the coming few weeks about Dr. Armati Austin's Integrative Health Conference, all day Saturday, April 16th. Thank you for coming today, Dr. Susan Hilbrand will do the Spiritual Matrices performance.
Well, as we witnessed in this short little clip that Chris showed, science now knows that the observer affects what is observed. That's what's great about epigenetics. That's great about where technology is taking us today. These are things that we've known from a long, long time, things that we've lost since the ancients told us that this was possible. So what's great about these healing modalities is that if we merge that with all the great things that are happening here at IGM with the Western medicine, and we bring all these different types of healing modalities together, imagine what we can do. So, with that, I'm about to go through my live book, which the actual prints from the book are in the laboratory room, which later you can find out how to get there to see the actual prints from the book. So, spiritual matrices. So spirit is the non-physical part of a person or breath. Matrix is something from within or from which something else originates. The womb. So spiritual matrices is the breath of the womb. So I represent us as light beings. The words are like us as individuals. When we have our own unique gift, and when we bring it together, it can be something amazing as we come together. And what a time we need that to be right now, that we all come together. So what I'm going to do is do this live performance. I'll read the poetic prayers. It takes about 6 minutes. The last prayer that comes up will be the only time you see words. And there's no music with that. When those words come up, for those of you who feel moved, I would like you to join with me in reading those words. And we will repeat that prayer 3 times. After that, we'll just have a moment of silence, take it in, and what moved you? What are you birthing? What is coming from the womb of this Mother Earth? How are you connected to that? So how are you connected to the words and the feelings that you hear as they're read and as you read? Sadness, pain, empty, nest, allow, plan, support, protect, subtle, change, embrace, unrest, stagnant, idle, silence, breath. Violate, separate, discuss, sever, relate, form, respect, endeavor, remove, confuse, judge, confess, respond, lead, know, beget. Filter, tears, screen, screams, fences, fear, barrier, dreams, people, die, walls, fall, voices, cry, compassion calls. Grave, save, loss, possess, care, collapse, dwell, regress, void, destroy, prepare, regret, vacant, blank, hidden, threat. Suffer, suffocate, suffice, cure, success, progress, perfect, pure, erase, expose, thirst, revive, vent, concern, need, survive. Attack, anger, prove, abuse, collect, discover, process, refuse, image, worth, vast, delusion, same, crowd, transmit, confusion. Tension, emotion, impression, hide, hero, shelter, bridge, collide, ego, other, self, create, memory, recall, distant, fate. Rest, act, defend, blame, secure, release, toxic, shame, renew, strength, clear, decision, mass, response, hope, vision. Execute, value, shield, divide, warn, guard, rank, thrive, stable, rage, oppose, complain, conquer, despair, heal, gain. Seek, find, fragrant, fusion, restore, faith, mend, illusion, trust, urge, sudden, shift, declare, sacred, latent, gifts. Boundary, chaos, transform, tribe, define, express, endure, guide, form, seed, radiate, desire, earth, air, water, fire. Wow, fantastic, amazing energy. Learn truth, request synergy, give apology, kindness, chance, sustain, empathy, laugh, dance. Order, clutter, cover, imbue, focus, forget, embody, infuse, begin, clarity, remember, mourn, nourish, reclaim, instill, reform. Strong, will, power, play, burdens, build, comfort, stay, death, conceals, silent, oath, life, reveals, wisdom, growth. Listen, speak, receive, center, reflect, retrieve, believe, enter, quiet, space, peace, transcend, open, heart, love, again. Engage, share, connect, grow, express, accept, align, flow, inspire joy, encourage voice, relax, forgive, evolve, rejoice. You know, when we speak, our words are so powerful. And so is our silence. And when we use words, we should think about the silence that we are breaking up with our words. Are they worthy? Are they making a change? Are they causing transformation for yourself, for your family, for the community, for the world, for the universe? Every time we speak, we manifest. We see in how these people were praying over a woman, whether you believe that is possible or not, wasn't that long ago. I thought that was no way, but I have had my own experience with others that I know it is real. When we believe that we are more than just our body, and that's what my work is about, that we are more than a body, and that we have this internal light that is within every one of us. And when we come together and connect and share that, amazing things can happen. So does anybody have something that came up while they were listening to this? Anything you'd like to share or ask? Feel free.
Thank you, first of all, so much for sharing. That was so inspiring, and I'm sure it spoke volumes to everyone that was in here. Whilst I was observing what was the picture clips or the artist clips, I looked at the clips 1 through 10, and what resonated within me was negative emotions that we all as individuals go through in different stages of our lives. From clips 11 through 15, those were positive emotions that we go through at different stages of our new created minds and created beings and created spirits. And that to me was very sort of inspiring, whereby you can go from, you become a created in a new being, and you transform and evolve and become who you were meant to be through different stages as you continue to seek and look for truth. That's who you become.
Very good. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Sandy. That's it. I only have 1 minute left, but Andre, would you?
Sure.
Great.
I respond by echoing what you're saying, by using the phrase, the architecture of joy is light.
The architecture of joy is light. Yes. That is something that we can contemplate. Just that alone has so much in it, those few words. Thank you so much. So we're here today to come together, and that's what we're going to do now is move into groups. Lynn will guide us. But I just want to tell you that this cover is the cypress tree. And this is how things sort of happened to me. I already had outlined these people, and I knew I wanted some nature background, so I did the cypress tree. Then I always have to do my research. Okay, what does the cypress mean? So the cypress symbolizes a new understanding of a crisis. And it is all about awakening the mother, the home, the comfort of the home, which is the home within us. So we are in a crisis. I don't think anybody would disagree in the world today, but that doesn't mean that we can't make a change. We are now conscious, evolutionary beings, and we come together like this and we see that we have a connection instead of differences, that we're not in our separate silos, but we need to connect and share, and that's what we're going to do today. So thank you so much.
And so now, what we're going to try to do is put into real action what Susan and Mike
and Chris have given to us now to transform, reform, reformation. This is a time of crisis, and yet the answer is in each one of you, and then what's inside each one of you reaching out and collaborating with like-minded elements in the other. That being said, I'm going to ask us to divide into 6 groups. And those are the public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, academic, and media groups. Now, every one of you has elements of each of those areas in you. You have to go out and make money. Many of you go to church or have spiritual moments where you connect to a force that's larger than yourself. You all watch television, read newspapers, and speak to journalists, and maybe some of you are journalists and writers. So what I want you to do is think of the group that you best fit with, and I'd like to start with Randall Davis. Will you please stand, Randall? And Randall is going to lead the private sector. Randall, I'd like you to walk to the back of the room over there with that gray table. And as many of you who consider yourself being in the business sector, you create and sell to others a service or a product. So if you would join with Randall at that table, that would start our private sector leadership discussion. Then with our faith-based leadership discussion, I would like Leah Sales to stand. And Leah, as people break out and start coming to their spaces, I would like you to have the front of the room here. And I would expect about 7 to 8 people would be related to faith-based.
This is Pastor Antoine Martin from Greater Bethel Church in Los Angeles. We're glad to have you here. You will be on my group, definitely, for the faith-based.
Then I would like media sector leaders to follow Steve Weingarten of Weingarten Communications. And as I said before, Weingarten Communications creates the One Voice newspaper for Gil Cedillo's office. And this would be if you are with a church or academia and are doing newspaper writing or wanting to do publicity and that kind of thing as one of your strongest reaches to the outside. Then academia, do we still have Dr. Wolf here? Dr. Wolf, I would like you to get the academics and then pick up on what you said to us before about your desire to inform, engage, and empower the young, and all of us, to become more clear on the free will and opportunities that we have to be entrepreneurial. This will be the academic leader. Public sector, we're asking Robert Donen. Robert Donen is the chair of the USC IGM Art Gallery Public Policy Committee, and he's the one who gets the certificates and letters of endorsement from our neighborhood council, our mayor's office, these county supervisors, state assembly members, state senators, and the USC Office of Federal Relations and USC Offices of International Relations. What we want you to see is that you have a hub or a pod of people that you talk to. By the way, I think of artists as the business sector. And so I want artists who create and sell services to meet with the business people. But I think that we want to really preach to the choir first, and you're only going to answer, you're going to ask each other and answer 3 questions. What is our sector's worst pain point or challenge? What are our sector's best resources? And what is our suggested next step to share and leverage with leaders in other sectors? And to tip you off to what next steps we have, this is February, and this is our forum, and we brought you all together here. In March, we have on the 18th and 19th of March, we have another conference, that's 2-day conference, that will be talking about Africa and the United States and ways in which we can share and leverage all of these sectors' resources locally and globally. And then in April, on Saturday, April 16, Dr. Armady Austin's all-day conference will be discussing integrative health and ways in which we can inculcate or bring with intelligent, innovative integration the ways in which alternative and complementary medicine can work with existing medical practices here in the United States, and how we can share and leverage that with our brothers and sisters in all nations. So those are 3 possibilities, and we'd like you to come up with more. And what sites you have to share with us, what speakers you have to share with us, what art, music, dance, and other aspects you have to share with whatever any of us come up with doing. Okay, we do have a nonprofit group. I didn't mention nonprofit. Is there anybody here who would like to chair the nonprofit group, or do you want me to just pick somebody? Okay, great. Marina Schwabik, who has worked with royalty in Serbia, correct? And she is an expert in nonprofit management. Thank you for volunteering, Marina. Okay, we have 6 breakout groups, and you will fill out these questionnaires. So that will last from 2:30 to 3:15. You have 45 minutes to talk with each other about your challenges, your resources, and what you want to do next. And then each group will have one person who will be chosen to be the spokesperson, one person who will be chosen to fill out this form. And the spokesperson will come back, we'll have 6 spokespeople, and they will say what your group answered to each of those 3 questions.
Wise counsel. We're coming into but at the same time, it hurts you. Connecting to people. There's not really a connection. The culture as well as giving itself over to lack of connection. So, is that a culture? Develop a community so that we can grow. Right now, we're seeing people be more or less given to the concept that what they see on TV or things that are visible to from a cultural standpoint, the Facebook phenomenon, things like that.
You're a great book.
More or less that they don't have to adhere to certain guidelines, certain principles that are set by country.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we have our media representative speaker please step to the front and address the crowd with the masses, with your challenges, resources, and next step.
Okay, hello everyone. The participants: Steve Weingarten, Chris Toussaint, Robert Dowen, Ranisha Hayden, Donen, myself, Ranisha Hayden, and George Sabo, excuse me. So, what is our sector's worst pain points? Lack of funding, appropriations, and money is a main pain point for us. Also, fear of speaking the truth. A lot of journalists feel that they won't be backed up, so they do not speak the truth. They're fearful of that. Outreach. Also, the context to grab the public's attention. A lot of negative things are very popular. You put the truth out there, people aren't really gravitating towards that. Realistic coverage on issues that affect minorities. Lack of objective news because of electronic press release. Also, news that is self-serving versus news that actually serves the public. And then lastly on this section, false information easily accessible. We are bombarded, this is the information error. We are bombarded with information, some good, but mostly the opposite. Okay. Next up, our sector's best resources. Diffusion of innovation, so celebrity endorsements, political endorsements, low-cost equipment. You have a phone, you're good to go. Connecting with different sectors via web all across the globe. So we have that to our advantage. Telemedicine, teleeducation. Also, we are in the media capital of the world. Okay? Lastly, our suggested next step to share and leverage with leaders in other sectors. First, it is very important for you and your organization to have a clear definition of what you are promoting. Okay, quick and to the point. Evidence of your belief for skeptics or evidence of change, as in the video with the woman who's tuned, that was amazing, right? So we have evidence of that. People are right now, they want action immediately. So give them something that they can actually see and believe. Lastly, invite media people, publishers, editors, owners, people who have actually good credibility to be a part of our panels. Okay, they have their own following. People associate them with truth or their particular topic. If you have a reporter who reports on news and who reports on entertainment or what is the word I'm looking for?
Social issues.
Social issues, right? You invite them out because they already have people who believe in them and what they're speaking on, and it'll give us more momentum.
I think that we weren't sure when it's defining what it is that we're promoting here. There's a question of we weren't sure. Is it the gallery? Is it the works that we saw today, Free Will and the Spiritual Matrices? Is it the overall concept of getting people involved in their own communities for social change? You've got to know what you're promoting first, what ideas and what messages for you to really be able to get some traction, both in terms of promoting it yourself and getting other people to come in and get involved in it. And that's what, at the table, we didn't really have that clarity. So what we did define, we thought it was a very, very productive discussion, but to go next step would have to be narrowing it in more.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay, the rest of you 5 committees, answer them now. Let's hear academia. Tell them clearly what you want, who you are, what you're doing, who you need to do it with, what your resources are. Come on, academia.
So we are the academia team. We have Dr. Terry Wolf, Associate Professor of Marshall School of Business. We also have Dr. Armeti Austin, USC Keck School of Medicine faculty. We have John Matlick, who's involved in TV and film production. And then we also have William Bender and myself, Janet Bayramian, involved with the USC School of Social Work. So we actually found several pain points. First, we discussed tunnel vision and just the rigidity in terms of thinking and challenge with having a paradigm shift. We also talked about the absence of critical thinking in some of our programs. And we also looked at the lack of interdisciplinary collaboration, as well as looking at problems as given versus redefining our problems. In terms of looking at our sector's best resources, academia is wonderful because of all of the research that's involved in academia and sort of, looking into the underlying issues. We also talked about in academia, there's a plethora of intellectual professors, intellectual students, intellectual professionals in the academia sector. And also because we are in California, there's just a diversity of populations and interdisciplinary professionals within academia. And we also discuss that in academia, we all come from an ethical perspective in terms of how we approach our work, as well as having intellectual property development. In terms of our suggested next step to leverage with leaders in other sectors, we talked about educating, because we do come from academia, educating and connecting with other sectors. We talked about moving theory into practice through collaboration. We also talked about connecting with media to attract outside sectors, as well as connecting with nonprofits to collaborate. So this is what we brainstormed.
Okay, the private sector.
All right, so I'm Mike. Our group comprised of Randall Davis, is that correct? Okay. It's our chair, Shar McBee, Wes King, Andre Von Zite, Kim Becker, Mike Becker, and Susan Hillebrand.
And then I'm Naomi Scully.
And Naomi Scully next to us, who has taken notes for us. So what are our sector's worst pain points? We felt that being disconnected and a general focus on maximizing profits was a big pain point, to a degree that it actually has created potentially a fear-based economy that isn't sufficiently serving the mass majority of people. How does this occur? This is occurring through the overproduction of items and potentially not looking at enough of the downstream waste as being created from that. What are our sector's best resources? We think in the private sector ourselves and our ability to creatively problem solve towards that profit that we're looking to achieve, and integrating our needs with the other sectors within educational programs, coming up with alternative means to bring in nonprofits, to suggest to media, to inoculate the entire hexagon of leadership. Anywhere with anybody, essentially. It's our suggested next step to share and leverage with leaders in other sectors. I just touched on that. To really show how these sectors are interrelated. It is a big step. To use the potential structure and a new model for financial distribution through parts, proportions, or something similar to a royalty for an idea that would, again, empower more of the downstream, the folks who are making the products, to bring up their wages, to better all of this. Is that,
Yeah.
You want to add anything to that?
No, I think you did pretty good. Thank you.
Faith-based. Can we have the speaker from faith-based? It's the lady with the red dress on for Valentine's Day.
Hello there. Okay, so representing faith-based, the participants were Lael Beloved, love that name, Yvette Martin, Pastor Antoine Martin, Eileen McCullough, Verna McBride, Deborah Van Ziel, and myself, Leah Sales. Oh, sorry, what's Sandy, what's the full name? Sandy Hunter, sorry, yes, Sandy. Okay, so the worst pain points for what we had identified were lack of connection. We can't have an epicenter to support without being connected to one another. We also found that we are becoming a separatist nation, and we wanted to talk about how to bring those together. There's a crisis of identity, but faith brings this to a epicenter here. So we're really trying to get people to understand their epicenter and to bring faith into it, to collaborate and to empower. Pain, also not being consistent. We're finding that a lot of the faith-based churches are starting programs, but they're not continuing. And there has to be a level of consistency, which is key to keep people there and to keep them coming and also spread that word. What are our best resources? spiritual training. That's one of the very, very best resources. The rudimentary of faith will equal prayer, will also equal your identity. To be able to serve and listen and to be tolerant of others through all sectors. Changing the world through service is what we found as our sector's best resources. And then what are our suggested next steps to share and leverage? First, we must change within ourselves. And if we change within ourselves, we can change our minds. And with that, you can go and empower others and spread that, and it will have a domino effect. Number two, create events. We need events that we can collaborate together. Listening to one's pain. Everyone's in pain in so many ways, but take that pain and turn it into something that's going to be very instrumental for everyone. That's going to be something to help turn it around. We also said that we need more mentors. Everyone can be a mentor. Being a mentor does not mean that you adopt someone for the rest of your life. Whatever you have learned, you can pass that on to someone else. We cannot let the resources and the wisdom that we've learned just fall by the side and drop. The wisdom that you pass to another is actually what's going to help to bring you all together. Developing those next leaders but through your mentorship. Using the training and paying homage to those who walk the path before you. Gratitude is very much needed for everyone. Thank you.
And finally, nonprofit. Our nonprofit speakers.
Hi, my name is Valerie. I didn't write this, but I assured Marina I could probably read this. So Marina was on our team, Lynn, Sylvie, and myself. Did I get that right, Sylvie? Okay. Closer to myself. Okay. Our sector's worst point, or pain point, our worst issue, of course, is finding money. We have no shortage of needs that we try to meet, but we suffer from a lack of resources. So if anybody wanted to know just exactly what it was that they should be doing for next steps, it's find a good nonprofit that you want to give money to. Because although we have many people who are good volunteers and are really passionate about it, other people actually need to get paid for their work. Finding space to conduct our work is sometimes a challenge. And the grants that are out there, of course, there is just overwhelming competition. The things that are our best resources, of course, is people who start nonprofits and people who work on them regularly have a passion for what it is that they do. And you can't buy that, you can't replace it. It's essential. So we have that. Oftentimes what we're doing speaks to people's hearts and souls. When you see kids who are learning to express themselves well, when you see kids who are going to a museum for the first time, when you're finding out that people can appreciate what Tesla did to sort of inspire the creativity of people in the world, those are things that are positives. But how do you get that information out there? So that, of course, is one of the things that we're really needing to do. Because we have all of those nonprofits there who could be in competition, the real trick, of course, is to get people to collaborate. So first you have to know each of you is out there, which is another big problem. Because if you know that you're out there and you know that you share a similar kind of view for what needs to happen in the world, perhaps you can find a way to parlay your various resources and skills into something that will be more effective to get the job done. So we need to be able to communicate amongst each other, and then to communicate what our needs are and what our goals are in the broader society, which of course is where media comes in. Just in case you were wondering, now you know. I don't know. Did I get it? Anything else?
Marketing.
There you go.
Yeah, so, I mean, anyone who's ever worked for a nonprofit, I mean, we joke about the fact that, you know, when you work for a nonprofit, you're wearing about 40 hats, and you then don't have anyone to then market what you do, because all your money and all your resources are just going towards the programs that you're running. So that would be, you know, another area where marketing obviously allows people to know what you do, and allows you, you know, to really get exposure and get people to notice you and get them to recognize that you're doing good work in your communities and what you're doing is effective. So I think everyone understands that, and so I'd say that that's a key point.
And I want to just add one thing. Luckily, with the development of new media and social media, there is actually an opportunity for us to create sites, Facebook pages, Eventbrites, and it's all for free. And you get some really good discounts. I'm not working for those organizations, but it helped me definitely raise funds and promote my projects, and I'm sure yours. It costs really nothing. You can share with friends and family, and sometimes it goes viral, so it reaches out a lot of people. So social media, yes.
So there are 3 more people I want to have come up really fast, because these 3 answer a lot of these questions. I want Yo Pomero and Julian Macara and Gaston Montero come up here, because these are people who can get your word out and give the essence of what you're doing to Steve Weingarten and the public sector and the unions and the other people that our wonderful USC alum Steve Weingarten does. So, Yo, would you please tell them what you're doing?
Hi everyone, my name is Yo Pomero, and we are a team over there with Juliana Campana from Switzerland and Lilian Guilleneuve from France. And we are a non-profit organization called Sportball USA. We invented a new lifestyle sport dedicated to help all the people to get back, in good shape mentally and physically. And we have a program to help everyone. And this is fun, and it's not boring. This is not like a class of nutrition or something very boring or annoying. So it's something dynamic with music, with dance, with exercises, and with a program like in 3 hours a week, we could be back in shape in 2 or 3 months. So it's something really amazing. It's proved scientifically. And we have plenty of MD from Europe and now from Los Angeles, and USC and Lean they help us to grow. And we have a good partnership with Lean Crandall, that is awesome, great, but everybody knows here. And with Cross, the train rail, that we have a partnership with El Arca, which is a special school for disabled adults, and we're working with John Menchaca, who is the director and president of Chamber of Commerce too, in order to develop the manufacture for all our equipment for the sports, to provide job to them, because there are 250 adults mentally disabled with no resources at all, and it's a real pity. And with a city rich as Los Angeles, we should help them and recognize that any disability is not a taboo. That's enough. Okay, bye-bye.
Really quickly, Julian, real short, just say what you're doing here in the Pico Union area with the art that people can see downstairs.
100%. Well, good afternoon. My name is Julian Macara. I'm a representative of Centro Cultural Oaxaca. We had the art exhibition right downstairs. I'm the director of education for Centro Cultural. What we do is we invoke the culture of Oaxaca. It's a state in Mexico, and we bring the culture of Oaxaca in various perspectives: food, actual painting art, textural art, and other forms, to community members, and use that as a spearhead to advance them in other precepts of their life. So using that to build a sense of self, which is something that was being discussed throughout the day here, sense your own credibility and actually be able to produce something. The education aspect of it is I do workforce development. We want to identify those key skill sets these individuals are learning. So whether it be a skill in art, whether it be having the social entrepreneurship of actually being able to gather your friends together and and produce something, advance and know that so that we can connect to different institutions that we have around here.
And you mayor of Los Angeles. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. We're going to close with a real quick word from the maestro here, Gaston Montero.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Thank you, folks. My name is Gaston Michael Montero. I own a company called MGM Branch Productions. Branch Productions specializes in promoting ethnicity in the city of our youth. We're trying to, kids have a way of thinking that, and even adults, is called bragging rights. We don't have enough bragging rights, which is the key word to make better citizens in the city of Los Angeles. But through cultural arts and the folk arts is a great experience that Tom Bradley had promoted. And Branch Production just picked up the torch. We are working to try to get UNESCO to come together with the United Nations Association to be part of Branch Productions. And we are working very close with Lynn. And also we're looking into how to improve relations within our own community. But we are also attaching ourselves to a company called Tapestry. And they are also raising funds for nonprofit organizations. So what we're creating is we're creating a podium for nonprofit, youth, and adults that are within our city to make money with culture, art, and be productive in our community. So thank you.
The closing prayer before you're allowed to go network. Thank you.
We can close the word of prayer with bow our heads, if you wouldn't mind. Lord, we thank you for this day of awesome collaboration and an opportunity for such wise people to come together and develop strategies to help in ways and sectors and nonprofit, for-profit organizations that need our wisdom. We thank you for giving us this opportunity. We ask that you would help us to use these tools, these resources, this information to better our neighborhoods, to better our communities, to better this world. We thank you for this. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.